Hi, dreamers. Well, this is it, the end of the year summary, where I'll reveal the December, but also the final year-end totals of how much this portfolio made this year. And that means total, with dividends, options, and capital appreciation. And also, dreamers, hopefully my path and journey and all of this is helping you build your passive income streams too. And next year, I'm going to change it up, so pay attention as I start to accelerate like a boss. So after another month of fully living off of my investment income, today I'll review the end of the month totals where I show you my dividend and options income. And this month I made over $15,500. Let's take a look at the detail. Alright, to start with a point of reference, you'll see here in December of 2023, my dividend income in December was $7,781, and the total for the quarter was $24,546. Now fast forward to December 2024, and you'll see here $12,007, and a fourth quarter total of $35,917. And so you can see my giant shift to dividend income and the acceleration of it as it continues to reinvest. Can you imagine what this is going to be in December of 2025? I would just about die if it was north of $15,000 a month. But think about it. If I start to normalize it, just $12,000 a month, that means I could be bringing in, just in dividend income in 2025, $144,000. And this is why I get so excited about dividend investing, is that when you start to get into these bigger numbers, they really start to hit their stride. Amazing. It's like the ninth wonder of the world. But as you know, in addition to dividend income, I also have options income every single month. And so as a point of reference here, in December of 2023, I made $734 in options income and had a total of $8,401 in options income for fourth quarter. And now we fast forward to 2024, where I made $3,574 in options income and $20,275 in fourth quarter options income. And guys, I found myself in the same trap that I had last year, which is for about a couple of weeks, I have tons of family and friends to visit with and a lot less time to do options. And so I'm just going to remember that for every December coming up, that essentially I just do my covered calls and a couple of strategic bets. But December is probably not going to be my best month going forward into the future. And I just need to remember not to put too much pressure on myself, in addition to the fact that there's typically an end of the year sell-off. And so I was, just like last December, very careful with my cash secured puts. So let's take a look at the December detail for dividend income. So here's the detail behind the December 2024 dividend income of $12,007, where you can see the majority came in week 1 and week 4. Alright, well the week started with the remnants from my Visa position, which unfortunately got called away after I made quite a bit on wheeling and capital appreciation, followed by about $1,800 across all of the PIMCO income products, PCN, PDI, and PTY. I got $165 from QDVO and Devo, two of my favorite income and growth funds. I got $164 from JHG, $10 from YMAG, and just $2 from a small bet on KLAC, $130 from Fortis, $2,000, and $428 from JEPQ, my number one stock position, and then $85 from the weekly funds, Roundhill's RDTE, XDTE, QDTE, and Yieldmax's YMAG. Rolling into week 2, we see about $100 from iSpy, which is ProShare's income derivative product, and then $656 from GPIX and GPIQ, which I also did a dedicated video on. I got $1 from my very small position in CVX, which I just hold to monitor oil. I got $8 from Lilly, another $8 from IBM, and $50 from AMAT, which I'm using for both options and growth. I got $85 from Microsoft, another $56 from all those weekly funds, $39 from Citus, and $123 from Realty Income. Here's another hanging chad from MetLife, which got assigned after having covered calls on it for about a year. I got $3 from Duke Energy, $20 from SCHG, $38 from Stag, $40 from Google, $23 from UNH, $8 from PFG, $170 from my growing position in Maine, just $2 from IWM, which is the Russell 2000 index, $14 from FXI, which is the large cap for China. Then I got $13 from SOXX, a semiconductor ETF, $4 from IYW, $5 from VGT, and then about $200 from the weeklies. In week 4, you see a very small position I just started while I'm testing out a new ETF, BALI, which is a derivative fund from BlackRock I'm taking a look at. I got about $250 from Manulife, $21 from FTech, $415 from FDVV, which is a growing ETF for me. That's pretty safe. $6 from VIG, $13 from VUG, $28 from VBR, and $86 from VNQ. So in total, about $130 collectively from these big Vanguard funds. I got $24 from SMH. And then you see the NEOS funds here. I got $2,826 across QQQI, SPY-I, and IWMI. And I've also done dedicated videos on SPY-I and QQQI. I got $30 from JQUA, and then I got another $200 from the weekly funds. And so the month wrapped up with $156 from PSA, $200 from Maine, $273 from Avgo, just $5 from QQQ, about $100 from SVOL, which is based on the VIX, another $665 from the Amplify funds of QDVO and Devo, $80 from iSpy, and finally $152 from SPAXX and FDRXX, which are basically just the money market interest funds. And that is what makes up my $12,000 in dividend income. So let's take a look at that cumulative income chart to wrap up 2024. And then I'll show you my final total return. And so here it is, my final cumulative investment income chart. And just to orient you to this very quickly, the blue, orange, and dark green bars are dividend cumulative investment income only across 2022, 2023, and 2024. And so you can see how that pure dividend income has grown year over year, month over month. But in 2023, I started doing options. And so the yellow is dividend plus option cumulatively as it grew across 2023. And so the light green bar is the same thing, dividend plus options plus interest income, all in for 2024. And so if we focus in December, you can see that my total for 2022, just dividends, was $75,057. And my total dividend income for 2023 was $93,968. And so here we are in 2024, and my total dividend income was $116,251. Now in 2023, my all-in cumulative investment income was $142,758. And so here we go. What is the grand total for 2024 with all of the detail, all of the actions that I've been showing you week after week, month after month? How much did I make in 2024? Well, here's the answer. It's $240,986, which is almost $100,000 more than I made last year in investment income, which, if you know my strategies, are pretty passive. And so I hope what you're taking away from this is that this kind of investment strategy is doable. And it's doable in a way that manages risk, and that you can have a portfolio with a relatively low beta, and that you can do options with a relatively low delta, and that all of this is possible DIY. Because I am just a woman out here doing this on my own. And if I can do it, anybody watching this can do it. I have 100% confidence. I don't have any fancy access to the stock market terminals. I'm not getting advice from any broker. I'm simply doing this all directly out of my Fidelity account. And so with that, let's take a look at the total return for 2024. And so this is the little added bonus as a summary for the entire 2024. Now I rounded these numbers just to make it easy on the eye so that you can get the idea quickly. But I started the year at about $1.54 million in my portfolio. And some of you know that in 2024 I sold a lake house, but also had a pretty major life debt. And so the net of that was about $200,000 that I put into my portfolio this year. But I also had a lot of withdrawals and expenses this year because of health reasons and some real estate thing. And so I took away from my portfolio over the course of the year $160,000. And as you know, I didn't work one day, not 1 hour, not 1 minute in 2024. Isn't that incredible? And so that 160 was what I basically lived off of. And so I ended 2024 with $1.93 million, with a net of only $40,000 added in from the outside. And that's just the 200 minus 160. And so at the end of the day, my dividends and options contributed a $240,000 increase, but I also got about $110,000 in capital gains from stock appreciation, which is pretty incredible when you consider that most of my holdings are designed to be relatively stable and flat and low growth, while the bulk of the return comes back in the form of income. And so my total investment gain in 2024 was $350,000, which, if you do the math, was about a 23% total return on that 1.5 that I started with. And the Dow had a return of about 23% as well. And so one of the things I want you to take away from this is that as you review my portfolio and you hear me talk, just keep in mind that I am a conservative income investor. I've always wanted a portfolio to pay me a consistent paycheck that I didn't have to worry about day to day. And so what you can take away here is that I am an average investor, heavily weighted towards income. And I also get about the same return in a very low beta. In fact, some would argue a lower risk portfolio than the general basket out there. Now, sometimes people ask me, Dream, how come you just don't put that $1.4 million into, let's say, a 5% CD, and that's it? Well, hopefully you can see the reason here, because my return in 2024 was $350,000 on a relatively low beta, low risk strategy. And a 5% return on 1.54 million would have only been $77,000 for this year. So I think you'll agree, I prefer the $350,000 I made off of that 1.5 over a 5% return of $77,000. And that right there, my darlings, is the difference between a saver and an investor. So I hope you're learning from me and my channel so that you can start to exit being a saver and start being an investor, even if you're like me, someone who's pretty conservative with money, who wants to manage risk. So I hope that was helpful for you. And in upcoming videos, I'm going to show you more of the summary of what exactly I did in terms of the tickers I used for options, etc., and go into some of the key learnings that I'll take into 2025. And I've got a few more tricks up my sleeve for 2025. As I rotate in some strategic growth, as I source some more capital, and I start to accelerate the pace of both my income and total portfolio growth. And so with that, I'm going to put a stake in the sand right now that my goal at the end of 2025 is to have over $300,000 in annual investment income and over $2.5 million in my portfolio. Can I get to 350? Can I get to $3 million? I can't wait to find out. Well, that's it for today. I hope you enjoyed this dividend income update. And if you want a richer, real-time experience with me, you can always follow me on Instagram or X. And if you're doing your own research using Seeking Alpha, feel free to find the link below to subscribe if you want, no pressure. As always, I encourage you to do your own research, then implement and learn by putting it into practice. And as a reminder, I'm not a financial advisor, so keep in mind these videos are for entertainment and inspiration only. I'll see you on the flip side.